Gathered friends, listen to the tale of our island paradise, and more importantly, the adventures of the brave Toa who protected us in our darkest hour. This island bears the name Matanui, after the Great Spirit who created everything we know. We lived as a single collective in the place called Kini Nui under the careful watch of Matanui, who we honored above all. This did not please the Great Spirit's brother, Makuta, whose minor contributions in creating our civilization were widely overlooked. Jealousy overtook him, and with his powers, Makuta created a virus that put Matanui into an eternal sleep. Darkness fell over the island, and Makuta used infected masks to control the Rahi, using the creatures as tools. Unable to defend the creatures off, we scattered throughout the island and formed 6 villages that reflected the 6 elements: fire, water, earth, air, stone, and ice. Though our differing fortresses protected us from the Rahi, our supplies would dwindle, and few Matoran who left the village in order to refill them returned. But I knew there was hope. I was one of the 6 Turaga that Matanui had appointed over the Matoran, and he bestowed upon us great knowledge and wisdom. He told us that if trouble were to arise, 6 powerful heroes called the Toa would appear, and their powers would be unmatched throughout the island. Though we suffered in fear for a long time, Matanui's words rang true. 6 canisters washed on the shores of the island, bearing the heroes we'd been waiting for. To my village came Tahu, a brave but short-tempered Toa who possessed total control over fire. Wild and confused, we took him into our village and explained to him our culture and our dilemma. I told him that it was his destiny to collect 6 masks of power that Matanui had left for them to possess, which Makuta no doubt had heavily guarded. Word came that experiences with Toa similar to mine had occurred in each village, and it was decided that the Toa must convene at the Kini Nui. Before long, all the Matoran discussed the 6 Toa, who went on many quests in order to discover the hidden masks. They stood together as follows. Gali, Toa of water. She was peaceful and preferred working as a team. Pohatu, Toa of stone. He was strong and joyful, and he loved to make others laugh. Onua, Toa of earth. He was reserved and wise, speaking only if he had something important to be said. Liwa, Toa of air. He was fun-loving and free-spirited. He was most comfortable in the solace of the trees. Tahu, Toa of fire, the rash but brave leader of the Toa. And finally, Kopaka, Toa of ice, quiet and intelligent. Kopaka found Tahu unworthy of leadership and avoided working with the other Toa as much as he could. Nevertheless, he became good friends with Pohatu. Through many trials, arguments, and hard-fought battles, the Toa became a great force to be reckoned with. They each collected their 6 masks of power and freed many Rahi from Makuta's control. The island became much safer, but the Toa knew their destiny was to awaken Matanui and stop Makuta forever. After some investigation, the Toa discovered Makuta's cave and ventured in to finally confront him. They fought bravely and defeated many Rahi more powerful than any they had previously faced. But their search for Makuta seemed to have no end. Finally, they discovered a huge cavern where Makuta resided, but alas, one of their ranks was missing. Only Pohatu knew that of Kopaka's absence, as the Toa of ice found a secret room with his mask of X-ray vision. Kopaka's gut told him that Matanui's sleeping presence was imprisoned there, and that the other Toa must go on so as to distract Makuta. Pohatu explained these things to Tahu after the fact because Kopaka knew Tahu would not want him to leave the ranks. Despite his anger at his brothers, Tahu was well aware of Kopaka's wisdom, and the remaining 5 pressed on to the main cavern to stop Makuta once and for all. Makuta was powerful, but conceited, and chose to toy with the Toa and cause them to destroy themselves rather than smite them down with his power. Meanwhile, Kopaka came to the end of the secret pathway and found a room full of containers. Each held the bodies of Rahi, Matoran, and other unfamiliar creatures alike, but Kopaka was drawn to the pod in the center. It contained only a mask, a Kanohi Hau that glowed with a strange energy. Kopaka realized that Matanui's sleeping consciousness was stored inside, as the Kanohi Hau was the symbol of Matanui. Using all the power he could master, Kopaka blasted the pod until it was entirely consumed in ice and slammed himself against it with the help of his mask of speed. Makuta immediately felt that Matanui's prison had been destroyed and telepathically awakened the contents of the other containers in the secret room to destroy Kopaka. Surrounded by enemies and weakened from destroying the cage, Kopaka instinctively grabbed for the glowing Hau and put it on. In doing so, Kopaka awakened Matanui, who controlled the Toa of ice so he could destroy Makuta's forces with ease. Realizing he had little time to escape Matanui's wrath, Makuta unleashed all his forces against the other 5 Toa and abandoned his physical form. Though the Toa awakened Matanui and brought peace back to the island, the end of our tale is not an entirely joyful one. When Kopaka removed the mask that was Matanui's prison, he saw the bodies of his fellow Toa among Makuta's annihilated forces. Matanui revealed to Kopaka that the use of his special Hau had protected him and allowed him to destroy Makuta's entire army. But the other Toa were overwhelmed by their great numbers. Kopaka tried to hide how truly broken he was at the loss of his brothers and sister, and solemnly brought their bodies out of Makuta's lair to be buried in their villages. Life was better than ever before. Matanui gave us many blessings, and nothing had been heard about the evil Makuta. Despite the Matoran's prosperity, Kopaka had not moved from his sorrow. 6 months after Matanui's awakening, 6 Matoran appeared to the Turaga with similar stories of Kopaka delivering a strange stone to each of them, and a 7th Matoran had recently spotted Kopaka in the blizzards of Kauai. The 6 Matoran became the island's new Toa, and it is assumed that Kopaka's spirit joined the other Toa with Matanui. Thus ends the tale of the Toa, 6 heroes who, despite their great differences, were united to awaken the Great Spirit, who they now reside with for the rest of eternity.